I'm sitting here now on this Nissan. You can see where we got this all cleaned up, about an inch around the perimeter. Getting ready to, actually we'll hit that with some of the high zinc weld through primer. You know, you got some weird profiles and things you got to deal with. This box beam is real interesting. The floor pan actually bends up and comes across here. So out of a similar 18 gauge sheet metal, I've actually bent this piece out. I took some cursory measurements. I'll show you what I've been bending most of my material on. Okay, this is what I use for material. It's just flat stock sheet goods I get through my body parts store, my Body Supply. Here I've got, this is just, actually it's a piece for another project I got to build for a customer. But for right now, rectangle, square tubing, whatever. This is a piece of channel iron that when I moved to the property I'm at now, I found out back. Those legs were made out of pipe. I found out back. This is my beat 'em table. I got a rotor over here that I bolted down. It helps shape things. I mostly throw tools in it when I'm working on it. Dead blow mallet. You don't have to have anything super nice or dandy. Not even the $300 Harbor Freight brake for this, really. In one hand, I'm just trying to get these C-clamps loose. Just a couple C-clamps. A little bit of steel, whatever you find lying around, literally. That was flat stock 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. See the bends? They're good, decent bends. I gotta clean up the side. That's actually a oil-based primer that incident last year. Some material and miscellaneous got oversprayed because of people's carelessness. But now I'm ready to figure out this end, that end. I got some cuts to make and how I'm gonna do it. We're gonna go ahead and cut holes along here. We're gonna cut holes along here, and we're gonna plug weld this apparatus in there. This will be the driver's side hole in the floor I showed you just a while ago. I pressed out that piece of steel. I stamped my plug welds. Man, you can't even see them now. Plug welded it around. I didn't like the fit I had, so I went ahead and put some additional tacks. But this floor pan is as complete as the rest of the car now. I like that much better. Oh, looky, we got a moth or something in there. This is rubberized undercoating. It's a preventative treatment sealer. It's over everything. We use seam seal. I'll show the other side a little bit better, but that's the driver's side. Alright, this is a piece we sectioned out for the passenger side. The same measurements fit from passenger to driver. It's a wonderful thing about modern automobiles. They're very symmetrical. Like I was explaining before, I kind of showed, I don't have a brake. I don't even have a Harbor Freight $300 brake. I've got a piece of channel iron I found in the yard, built legs on it from pipe I found in the yard, and part of another project I got to do for a customer next week. So this is going to sit in the floor pan like this. The car is facing that way. This is the front. This is the rear. That goes up towards your console hump. This goes out to your rocker panel. So we need a 90-degree bend here, up. So I'll flip it over so I'm bending it down. The reason I'm bending it down on this channel iron is the edge on this pipe is great for bending everything up towards the console hump. I need real soft edges. I don't need a sharp 90. This is a pretty sharp 90 on the angle. So then I'll bring it in. I only want about ½ inch. I've only given myself an inch to work with on all directions. This thing is ½ inch larger on every side than what I need for the hole. It just barely laps. I see a lot of floor pan repairs, and people do pretty good jobs on their own, but what they want to do is they want to lap it like that far. all that's going to do for you is give all that shit on the road somewhere to hang out. You know, I got cheap ass Chinese C-clamps or Craftsman, I don't know what they are. I got some Elite. I might have broken all my Chinese clamps. They don't live very long. I'll bring it over here and try to clamp it as close to point of origin as possible. Getting right on the edge isn't really all that important either, but for completeness, I'm weird that way. Just use $6 Shoppers dead blow hammer, mallet. Knock this edge over. Don't take the whole 90 in the first pass. Do a lot of weird dimpling. Takes 3 or 4 passes to get nice and clean. It's not as quick as a brake, but when this is what you got, you made it work. Smith welding pretty much consists of me, Casey, my brother, behind the camera, when he can help me out. He comes up when he's in between or got nothing to do. My nephew, he's in high school, so I love it. Alright, that's our first bend. Nice, clean, it's got some dimpling. We're going to hammer all this shit down anyhow when we take it to the car. Next is going to be grease pin. Let's go to the car. Down here. Alright, I got this angle here. You can see where there's some whoopsies in there. It doesn't matter. We'll hammer that out. All I care about right now is finding the bottom of that bend down here. And the bottom of that bend down there should be in that neighborhood. The other side I wasn't close up here, and it doesn't really matter. Again, you're going to beat it with a hammer and form it in shape. We're going to take it back. We're going to bend that. I've got about 3/4 of an inch. So then we're going to have to come up to here for the other bend. And that'll lap over. So let's hit the beat 'em table again. I'll show you how to bend these. Alright, we're getting ready to bend this. Bend this up, it'll give that lift, and then across the last bend. I got it marked where the bends are. Now those bends aren't out here flush to the outside. The bends are actually in the middle of this radius. That's where you want them. So those marks are going to be just covered up. I don't need a real crazy bend on it. It's less than 90. We're going to go underneath and sway her up a bit. We don't care if it's a little too steep. It's easier to bend it back and collect that 5 or 10 degrees you need when you come back. It's 18 gauge sheet metal, 18 gauge sheet metal, which is the modern standard, obviously. So you got that real gradual around that piece of tubing. We're looking at on that piece, it's near about 3/4 of an inch. That's a little bit more than what we need. Remember that radius comes out, that bend comes out in the middle of the radius, so you got to knock it back about 1/8, 3/16 of an inch. The reason I line it up with the edge of this channel iron isn't out of anything when you need it. It allows me a clear sight. A lot of these are just eyesight. If you've got a good eye on it, if you play with a tape measure for a number of years, I have, you can eyesight it. You can eyesight a parallel line, especially close enough for a floorboard that's going to cover it up and send about its way. When people want 1,000 of them for these type of repairs, and that's something you can do in your garage with a Flux 4 Harbor Freight welder, to be honest. That's some simple shit. See, we slipped out. That's alright. We got hand seamers. And we pull that rest of it back around with the hand seamers. We got a line. Again, I'm going to be beating this thing half to death with a hammer once I get it in there. So all I need is a general idea and enough bent that I can, enough of a flange that I can cut the notches in it for plug welds. That's it. We're going to put the notches around it. Hit these areas that are going to be covered with high zinc weld through primer. It's over here's the notcher. Handy dandy notcher, cuts flanges and notches. But I don't need a lot. If it doesn't suit your fancy, stitch a couple of tack welds around the perimeter. You're seam sealing everything, you're undercoating everything, as long as you don't make a big globby mess with the welds, you can do pretty much anything you want. Again, it's metal. You foul up, you weld the hole shut and start over. That's a piece of floorboard. Okay. You can see now. Let's see. Let's get over here. See that gap? That's what I was telling you. We're gonna hammer all this in. Seam seal everything, top and bottom. This is our basic fit. It looks rough. Look at that. I mean, oh, let me see here. It doesn't even touch all the way down there. There's a gap right there. Fitment. I got all the parts where I need them. I got all the flanges the right dimensions, all that. Now you take this is just a little body hammer that I use, or a ball peen hammer, and form it. These ridges I bent here and the lip over here is going to make rigidity. All we do is make sure it's secure to the car and seam seal everything. Okay, now you can see what I was talking about with the hammering. Gap's all gone. Nice and tight to there. I've got to work it in across here up that flange. That flange a little boogered. Up here you can see right there, that was a pinch in the original. I went ahead and hammered this down nice and tight. This is all tight right through here. We can do our spot welds and our seam seal, and it'll hold up to anything the original car plus some had done. Let's see here. Let's see if I can get one of these spot welds on the camera without hurting me, the car, or the camera. Oh, not bad. Okay. I'll go spot weld. Here and bring it around. That way it folds into that floor properly.
I'll let you see it when I get this all done. I'm ready to seam seal and undercoat. Alright, we're looking at this stitched in here. I put a couple extra stitches. I didn't like how some of it was sticking in there. That's why I started being more conservative on the plugs I cut on repairs like this, because it didn't seem to matter. But there we are. There's that. I'm going to show you the seam sealer. This stuff is gnarly, tacky, wicked. If you do this inside and out on the bottom, if there's any gaps left over, alright, that tube of seam sealer is out. I can show you the general thesis. You saw the mess on the other side, what it looked like done. All we're doing, we're making sure these seams are gouged deep in with the seam sealer, and it is watertight. We're not relying on welds to be watertight. We haven't relied on welds to be watertight, well, ever. But there, that is. I'll show you the driver's side now. Boop. We got some of this thick rubberized tape. It's actually for our houses, but it works great for sound deadening. Repairs like this, it keeps costs minimized. Dynomat's expensive shit, as everybody knows. We're gonna roll the carpet over on this side and be done. This side's gonna get that seam sealer. It's gonna get the rubberized undercoating. Then I'll go underneath, seam seal and rubberize that. We'll get a shot of that before we're done. While we're doing that, it should set up enough that we can put the Protecto tape on there, roll the carpet in, and be finished.